First things first, I log into my iCloud account and download the raw footage to my laptop. Here are all the clips I captured. 96 is pretty average for me. For a lot of this trip, I found myself just wanting to experience a new place with friends, and filming was secondary. So I don't have a ton, but this is a pretty decent amount to work with. I open up Premiere Pro and create a new project, title it Human Shaped Figures, click OK at the bottom, and now I have a blank project. I'm dragging my raw clips in from the project window in the bottom left box to the timeline window on the right. When I'm dragging clips in and editing, I usually reference my storyboard, but for this film it was different. I drew the storyboard only looking at pictures of where we were staying and the places surrounding our house. When we got there, I knew right off the bat I wanted to ditch 95% of my original storyboard idea. There was one shot I had drawn which was going to be the moon through binoculars, and the more I played around with the binoculars in Arkansas, the more I realized, oh, I need to shoot the whole film through the binoculars. So I ended up just pressing and holding my phone against one of the binocular eye cups or the eyepieces, and it looked phenomenal. I was actually really surprised. Of course, my hands are naturally shaky, but it gave this real feeling of being watched, and that could be comforting or scary depending on how you look at it. So if I scroll through the first edit here, scene by scene, this is what it looks like. The binocular lenses changed the initial color of the footage and made each color more concentrated and stand out a bit more, which is pretty cool. And these are all of my currently unused clips in the timeline window. Real quick before I move on to color correction and grading, I want to talk about how I edited the films in terms of what shots went where. I started using only close-ups and shots of objects rather than introducing the characters in full right off the bat. I want the viewer to be able to connect with the characters based on their movements and indirect signifiers like arms and whatnot. This gave the feeling of familiarity without seeing the character's face. Then in the second half, we are introduced to the characters and you start to get to know them a bit more. I'm bringing the value of the highlights to -70. It brings out the definition and makes everything a bit more legible. I do this for every clip, give or take on the number 70, just depending on how the clip responds. I do it individually so I can make sure everything is even. Next, I'm going to create a subsequence so I can affect the whole film at once. Since each clip is even in tone and the basic correction is out of the way, applying the creative color grading will be a lot easier. So I drag the subsequence back into the timeline and it's just one long clip now. I'm making the blacks just a tiny bit darker and now bringing up the saturation a bit as well. This is where I'm actually coloring for a different feel. Everything is more vibrant, saturated, more dynamic, more dramatic, and moodier. I think the way the binocular lenses affected the initial color really helped get the look you see now. The last thing I'm going to do in Premiere Pro is overlay film grain. This will soften everything up again after having the colors get really heavy and dark from the grading. It just gives kind of like a Fujifilm feel. At this point, I export at a lower quality to get my score footage, and I import the video file into Pro Tools and start writing the score. You can watch the video where I break down the score on my YouTube. Link is in the description box below, as well as in the end card of the video. Thanks for watching. Also, if you want to join my Patreon, you get early access, exclusive content, which is both digital and physical, and you just are continuing to help me create.